Good morning. Good morning, y'all. All right, so we got to do another short one today because I can't take Coby all the way to school. Because he was up all night because he's a trooper. Anyways, so I was playing hockey the other night on last Saturday night, and I'm trying to go a little faster now because I'm recovering here from my surgery. But I put in the most effort. Oh no, that was Tuesday night. But anyway, Saturday night I was, going a little faster. Got my hamstring tear as well that I also had, and I had also broken a bone in my thumb the previous week, and so I'm, having a rough night on Saturday. And then on top of that, I forgot one of my sticks, and the sticks have different curves, and I forgot the stick I normally use in my car, and I had brought a different stick, and so I had a different curve. Thumb hurts. I'm trying to extend my leg more, but it hurts because of the scar tissue. I'm trying not to go too hard because I'm worried about my hamstring, and I just wasn't playing all that well. But I was also trying to do different things, right? Like just improve some skills. And one guy was just chirping. He's just chirping. He's like getting on my case for everything I did wrong, and I'm in pain with every stride I take. Well, yeah. So Saturday night was just whoever shows up, we make two teams and go. Now this guy is on my team, which we play Tuesday nights. Right? He's just giving me a hard time, and I had enough. I started giving it to him too, and just it wasn't nice. And so
what was he saying to you?
Well, he's just like, because one time I looked like I was going to pick up the puck, and I took a look where everybody was before I got the puck so that I knew what I was going to do as soon as I got the puck. So, but this time I tried to basically just grab the puck and pass it right off to him, like without even then looking for him, right? I looked at him before I got the puck, and then I just wanted to grab the puck and like immediately pass it off to him because and I missed him, right? Like I passed a little bit in front of him, so he couldn't get the pass. But that's okay because it's just a scrimmage, right? It's just a bunch of guys playing around. So that's a great place to try new things, right? You don't really get better at something unless you try it, and then you're probably going to screw it up a bunch of times before you start to gradually get better at it. So I was just trying to do that just so I could get quicker at moving the puck as a defenseman to get it out of our end and up the ice again, right? And he would chirp at me for that, and I don't know if I'm a little delayed making a pass on another play because, I don't know, mentally I'm still just wasn't really with it with all the pain that I was in. And he's just getting on my case for anything I didn't do right. Now, he does have the absolute best of intentions. He wants people to get better, particularly the guys who are on our team, right? So this was just the club guys playing as opposed to just our team. And then we get, and so Saturday night, I was just like, screw it. We're supposed to play a game tomorrow, and my brother's visiting, and we don't really know what our plans are. And my first priority is to hang out with you guys and stuff. But if everybody's busy, then Todd and I have already talked about, well, maybe we'll just go to the game because then we get a bus ride together, right? We're not driving together, we're on a bus together with all the guys from the team. So we still get to hang out the entire bus ride, which is like 3 hours there, 3 hours back. And then Todd can watch the hockey game.
On Sunday.
Pardon me?
On Sunday?
No, on Saturday. And so, and also too, already, the guys are all interested to, want to meet Todd. And but we're not really decided yet. But anyways, on Saturday night last week, I was like, all right, forget it. I'm not going for sure. So I dropped out of the game, mostly because I didn't want to put up with this guy's attitude. And I thought it was really unjust. I thought he was being a jerk. Really thought he was being a jerk. So then anyways, Tuesday night comes around, and now we have our team practice. So he's on my team. And what really ate at me, well, so first of all, I played really well on Tuesday night. Like I brought up my speed a lot more, and I was playing well. We have like an hour of practice, and then we have an hour scrimmage, and I scored 3 goals in our scrimmage, and like I was playing really well.
It's damn good off an injury.
Yeah, but then the other guy, Mike, he I watched him. He made a bunch of really bad passes. Like we're not talking like he didn't get it tape to tape, like right on the other guy's stick. I mean, like it was too far out of reach for the other guy to get. And then one time we're doing a drill, and now this is during our practice part, not the scrimmage. And then we're doing a drill at one point, and he's sort of next in line. I'm right behind him, like, so I'm going to go after him. And he wasn't ready. He didn't have a puck ready to go to make the pass to start his entrance into the drill. And he yells back at me. He's like, "Oh, give me a puck, give me a puck." And it's just, it's hypocritical, right? Because if anybody else had done that, wasn't ready to get into the play, he'd be yelling at them. Like, that's normal for him. And if somebody makes a bad pass, he's normally chirping at them. Then we get to the scrimmage, right? We get into, you know, he's on my team. Yeah, he was on my team. But, you know, when we're on defense, right, the other team has the puck on our end. You know, he's sitting out by the red line. He's just waiting for somebody on our team to grab the puck and fire it off to him so he can have a breakaway. It's like, so effectively the other team has a 5-on-4. But anyways, this isn't the point of the conversation. So I was pissed off with Mike again, but he knew it. He knew he didn't really know exactly why, but he knew I was pissed with him. And so that's the whole thing. I dropped out of the game. I think I dropped out of something else as well, because it's just like, forget it. I'm not ready to deal with this crap
because
yet.
of him.
Well, it's sort of a combination of, also Todd's here, so, you know, does Todd really want to go for a long trip? You know, I don't know. I would rather be hanging out with you guys and Todd on Saturday. So I hadn't yet dropped out, but that was kind of like the final straw to say, okay, yep, do it. So anyways, it is what it is. Okay, the whole point is not to be, you know, complaining about this. My point is this. This is my point. Is that Mike sent me a message on, I want to say Wednesday. It was probably Wednesday. And he said, "Hey man, can we chat?" I didn't even respond to his message on Wednesday. Maybe I did late Wednesday night. And I think I said, "Oh yeah, sorry, I was busy today," which I was very busy on Wednesday. I said, "I got a couple times, you know, Thursday morning to chat." And so I gave him two options. He said, "Okay." I gave him one in the morning, one in the afternoon. He said, "No, morning. I want to talk as soon as possible." So I gave him the time. He called me and he wanted to hear everything I had to say. And then he just apologized. He just said, "I'm sorry, man. I was a jerk. I was really being a jerk. This is what was going on in my head. You know, it's not an excuse, but this is what's going on in my head. And I just want to really sincerely apologize." And I thought, that's awesome. That's awesome. I really like that. And also interestingly enough, he got hired by Duncan, who is the husband of Maggie, one of my secretaries.
Oh.
Right. So I got off the phone with Mike, came out of my room, and Maggie's right there. And I was like, I just mentioned to her, I was like, I'm really impressed. Like, he just called and he apologized, and that was great. And then she talked about how I don't know that it was Mike, but her husband's like a higher up dude in the company, and it's just sometimes he will vent to her about frustrations where a problem occurs and everybody denies responsibility. The problem with that is, as a company or as a team or as a relationship of any sort, you have to be able to admit your errors to be able to make progress. If somebody can't in the company say, "All right, I did this wrong," then you can't say, "All right, this is how we can fix it next time." If everybody denies responsibility, then you can't fix it, right? And so we were just chatting about that. We weren't talking about Mike. We weren't talking about the hockey thing. We were talking about the principle of, you screwed up, apologize, and now we can drop it, right? So next time I'll see Mike, this won't ever come up again, because I mean, I won't hold on to it all. As far as I'm concerned, I said my piece, he said his piece, cards are on the table, it's all over with, done. We can move forward, we're still friends, teammates, no problem at all. And I just thought, there is not enough of this in the world.
Yeah. I hope myself that in that situation, if I was Mike in that situation, I would do that as well. Yeah. I hope at least.
You gotta be able to man up, and that's, you know, you want to,
yeah.
that shows a lot of your character when you do that.
You don't see that ever. And I kind of hope that I would do that. I think in myself that I would. Maybe there have been situations that people would say the opposite, but I don't know, maybe I wasn't aware of it. But Yeah, it's impressive. It's cool. It's great.
I liked it. Yeah, and then he wrote me back later and said, thanks for the chat. And I wrote back and said, really thank you very much for calling. I really appreciate it. It was
great because he called you to actually speak and have a conversation, and a dialogue, and to get both sides and to understand really what was up. And people don't really do that. They just assume and they act on assumptions, and that's how those things go.
There's a book, I haven't finished it, but I started reading it a long time ago. It's called Black Box Thinking. And it's kind of similar in the sense of it compares the aviation industry to the healthcare industry. And the aviation industry...
Aviation is...
like planes.
Planes.
Flying around and stuff. In the aviation, in that industry, they try to expose every problem that they can. Right, because when they identify anything, like pilots aren't allowed to drink within a certain amount of time before they fly a plane, right?
Sense.
It makes sense, but you'd be surprised. There's like 2 Scottish pilots who like a couple of years ago got arrested because a flight attendant called because they showed up drunk, right? Like it's little things like, okay, the mechanics check over the plane, but then the pilot has to check all kinds of stuff before they get going, right? They do all these checks before you can ever put the plane in the air, and it's all because something got screwed up before. So now they're trying to minimize the possibility of that problem ever happening again, and therefore now we have an industry where it's the safest form of travel, right? And then you compare that to the healthcare industry. Well, that's a whole different monster. So there's a checklist study that was done in hospitals, international study between Paris, London, New York, Toronto, Singapore, and Sydney. And they found that you go just for surgeries, if you have a checklist, and the checklist includes, okay, every single piece of gauze that you have before the surgery, you have to have them all when you're finished.
Every piece of what?
Gauze, like a piece of junk, whatever, every instrument, everything, if you're operating on the right leg, you mark the right leg so that you know that it's right, so there's no confusion. They found that it was either they decreased mortality by 0.8% or 1.8%. I want to think it was 1.8%. Now, it is pretty good. It's 1.8%. Doesn't sound like very much, but I remember the Toronto numbers.
In actual people's lives, that's quite a bit.
But that equated to 30,000 deaths, mortalities that were saved. It improved by 30,000. So you take somewhere like the US, so that was across the board, right? That's so the US, which is like 10 times bigger, that's 300,000 deaths just by implementing a checklist study. So you'd think that it would become a standard, but no, it's not. An individual surgeon might have an implemented checklist, but it's not standardized by hospitals. It's not enforced upon them. And you just think, why not?
Yeah.
Right? And the thing is healthcare has too many egos. Surgeons are gods, and it's just
can't be wrong.
They can't be wrong. They had
did
a thing.
X amount of years of school, so
Exactly.
So.
And they had a thing with studying time in tracheotomies, right? Doctors doing the tracheotomy. That's where they put a thingamajigger in your neck so the person can breathe if there's an obstruction above. And so, the doctor's working away, and like the nurse is sitting there saying, all right, well, 3 minutes has passed or 4 minutes has passed, and time is important, right? Because there's no oxygen getting into the patient. And the doc is like, no, it's only been 2 minutes. And the nurse has to basically just shut up, right? Because it's a hierarchy. And the problem with that is the nurse is sitting there with a watch. She's right, doctor's wrong, patient dies, or has other complications because because if you can't get it done in this amount of time, you got to go to the next step. And again, it's egos and people not admitting their faults.
It's hard to believe that specific situation would take place. That somebody with a watch.
No, it did, but it did. That's about the book. That's about the book. So, anyways, good job, Mikey. Inspiration, bro. See you later. Love you.
You too. Peace, love, and takers.